Uh, so, Janvi, it's a pleasure to talk to you, and thank you so much for taking some time out of your busy schedule. And just can you please
Absolutely.
give a yeah? So, can you please give a like 1 minute introduction or something like that, explaining about your role and what you do in the organization?
Okay. You're already recording, right? Because I don't
Yes,
see the recordings. So, okay, all
yes,
right.
I'm recording.
So hi, I am Janvi Parekh. I have graduated from MICA in 2022, and since then I have been in Hero MotoCorp. So it's been 2.5 years now. I am a brand manager in global business. I look after the motor taxi segment, which is predominantly Africa, the scooter segment across all global markets, and I'll be also looking after the EV segments when as soon as we launch. So we are planning to launch in Europe soon. So I'll be looking after that too. Apart from my brand manager role, I'm also looking at digital initiatives, digitization, primarily where we're looking at migrations of websites, content management, user customer journey for apps and other systems that we're creating as of now. And I've looked after hyperlocal marketing as well. And recently we are also looking at LMS, which is the lead management system, and DMS, which is the dealer management system. So this is basically the overall, I think, my job description as of now in Hero MotoCorp.
Okay, so it must be really hectic for you. I can see by the roles that you are in. So just let us begin this conversation. So firstly, I would like to ask you, how has the two-wheeler market evolved globally, and what trends do you see shaping the demand for the scooters, motor taxis in the emerging markets?
Okay, so as you already mentioned that emerging markets, right? So we are present in a lot of emerging markets only, starting from our neighboring Asian countries like Nepal, Bangladesh, Sri Lanka. We recently opened up in Philippines. We're also present in more than 15 countries in Africa where motor taxi is prevalent, and we're also present in more than 15 countries in Latin America, which is the South American countries. So the trends which are emerging as of now are that for scooter market, I can see that the preference is shifting from 110 cc to 125 cc. So people are looking at more power. They're also looking at more technological features as well as they want performance and speed. So they don't want scooter only for their daily commute, but they actually want to feel like they are not on a vehicle which is different from a motorcycle. So they really want that power and acceleration for that as well. For two-wheelers, we can see that the commuter segment is really picking up, but there is a shift from 100 cc, which is usually our Splendor family, shifting to 125 cc, and we have a really exciting products, new products which are coming in that market. And the premium segment, it's just going normally where it depends on market to market where the CC, like basically the power of the engine depends on what is the terrain and what is the entire riding, um, I don't know, experience which is required in that country. So they are shifting to higher CCs even in their respective segments. That is because they are looking at the need of power, or also because they assume that higher the CC, higher would be the number of technological features that they would have. So that is one thing which we are seeing.
Okay, so you have mentioned that consumers are moving from lower CC to higher CC and they are in need of more technological features. So, uh, ca- so what sets the Hero MotoCorp's offerings apart from competitors like Honda and TVS in terms of product innovation and brand proposition?
Okay, so it actually depends from country to country. I will even say that this is very region specific as well. If you take Asia for an example, where our neighboring countries of Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, they are highly influenced by what is happening in the Indian market as well. Usually, what we're launching, I will just speak for Hero MotoCorp, what we're launching in India in a few months, maybe 3 months or 4 months after the launch in India, we have a very similar product or almost the same product which is going in the market. So we do not change the positioning as much as we would like to, even though it would be, really fitting the box for the country. But we cannot completely change the narrative because they already have eyes on what is happening in India and they follow Hero MotoCorp's page, so we know how it happens. And based on if how are we doing with respect to facing our competitors, the legacy carries on because Hero MotoCorp has already been in these countries since its inception when we were Hero Honda as well. So that legacy carries on not only in India but for our neighboring countries in Asia as well. Coming to Africa is a completely different ballgame because you're looking at the motor taxi segment. Um, Hero MotoCorp is basically the third or fourth entrant in terms of an Indian OEM. So Bajaj was the first player which had entered the market around 15 to 20 years ago. TVS has been there around a decade. So it's very important for us to kind of the market is very established in terms of what the customers want in that segment, especially because Bajaj did the main thing of um, dethroning the Chinese players and like kind of establishing themselves as an Indian manufacturer who was the first entrant in Africa. So what we try to do is give really quality products because the usage is very very different from what we use as personal commute, and that is why we look at fuel efficiency and durability as the main propositions for Africa because that is what the people are seeking over there. In terms of Latin America, they are looking more at technology, and that is why we're trying to compete more in the technological space. Honda, being a Japanese player, comes with that perception that Japanese OEMs already have something, in terms of technology, and Hero thriving on legacy, but also because of the market's requirements, we are also trying to position ourselves more with the technology that we are providing along with the performance in our bikes. And that is why our premium segment is really picking up there, especially the 150cc, 160cc and 200cc, which is the X-Pulse, which is very famous in India as well. So that's there. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Coming to the target audience and consumer insights. So, who is the primary target audience for Hero scooters and motor taxis? And do their needs differ according to the geography? Like you have already mentioned a little bit in the previous answer. So, who is the main primary target audience of these products?
Okay. So scooters is completely for personal use in the personal commute is what you do for your daily commute, okay? And commercial use is basically the motor taxi. Just to explain motor taxis very quickly, like we have auto rickshaws in India, there they have bike taxis. So that is called motor taxi. They do not three-wheeler is not that common in Africa. So coming to scooters first, it does. So the primary or the target audience would be users who need scooters for their daily use. What I have seen, the difference which I have also figure come across between Nepal and Sri Lanka, because right now I'm trying to sell the same product in two different Asian markets. In Nepal, there because the terrains in the main city are very slopey, and that is why they are and the traffic is a lot. That is why they are preferring scooter because it's much more convenient, especially in traffic in daily commute, where it's very difficult for the people to kind of handle motorcycles with the gear shifting and all of that. So that is why you will find at least 50% of the riders in Nepal being females as well. But there is absolutely no gender specific tag given to scooters that it is for the females. In terms of Sri Lanka, they're using it for daily commute, but they're also using it for long distance rides. On the weekends, we had asked people, and they said that we kind of cover around 100 to 150 kilometers one way on scooters. More interestingly is that in Philippines, 60% of the market is 60% of the markets are scooters, and this is for commercial use as well, where they use it as real delivery riders as well. So there we are looking at delivery riders and also scooter taxis, which are there in the 160cc, but we still don't have a product. Like we yet to launch the product in the Philippines market. Coming to motor taxi segment, the target audience is almost the same across Africa, where we are looking at motor taxi riders who are riding for around 12 hours in a day, and they kind of cover around 200 to 250 kilometers. The usage differs everywhere. I'll give you a couple of examples quickly. Nigeria is a very 100cc market. 80% of the market is 100cc only, but their usage is so rough and it's so heavy that their motorcycles only last for around 12 to 15 months. That's all. But in East Africa, when you look at Uganda, Tanzania, Kenya, their motorcycles last for 3 years. But even while they are in East Africa and they are neighboring countries, in Uganda, 80% of the market is a 100cc market. But in Kenya and Tanzania, major chunk goes to 125cc and 150cc. That is because of the usage, because they need more power, because they do more of load carrying as well. So that is how the requirements change. But although the requirement changes in terms of segment of the power proposition, but the primary audience is the motor taxi rider. They are called Okadas in Nigeria, they're called Boda Bodas in Kenya, Tanzania, and they're called Motos in Congo. So that differs as well.
Okay. So just following up on the answer that you have given. So you have mentioned that in Nepal, they use it for navigating the high traffic and the slopes, and for Sri Lanka, they use it for long distance rides. Uh, so and in Philippines also, it's a heavy scooter-based market. So
Correct.
when the so is there any difference between the type of products or type of target segment that the Hero is actually targeting? Like, is there a difference between like premium category bikes being sold in one region and not so, like a general category of bikes being or general category of scooty being sold in another region? Or is the demography like similar in all these countries?
So demography is similar, yes, in terms of age, where we're targeting people from 18 to 35, but that is only to kind of have our communication specific according to the brand that we're selling. So I mean, right now the brand which I'm working on, which is Zoom, that is a comparatively where we're looking at a young, trendy, fun brand, right? So that is why we keep the target audience as 18 to 35. But when you see in 100, I'll give you an example just for Nepal. 110cc is more preferred by females, especially married women who are taking the kids, running their errands on a day-to-day basis. But then the 125cc is used more by males because they want something where they have more trendy looks and they want more power and acceleration. They want that racing kind of a feel as well. They look at graphics and design and style as well. 110 is more of a fuel efficient market. The 110 you can also look at a older demographic. But the thing is the target audience for communication kind of still has to be kept young because we cannot directly target older people or something because that kind of cuts down our demography in terms of communication reach.
Okay, okay, got it. So now, since continuing this brand identity and evolution, like how does Hero MotoCorp's brand identity reflect on its leadership in the two-wheeler space? And how do you ensure that this resonates across different international markets?
Okay. Um, so we do maintain the communication of being the world's largest two-wheeler manufacturer. That is something which is consistent all across markets. We also maintain our global presence and keep on updating whichever countries we enter in, because that kind of shows our legacy, our might. Also the fact, so what we kind of do is because Hero in India, if you see the progression of the brand that has happened, we've had Humme, Hero, and all of that. It's basically kind of creating an emotional connect more than just kind of selling products. We're actually creating that emotional connect, not with the brand or not with the products, but also with the brand. So that, along with the communication of that, we have more than 120 million customers across the world. We kind of stay true to that in the neighboring countries, where in in Bangladesh, we have this thing called Hero Desh Bangladesh. And in Nepal right now, because we recently relaunched with a new distributor, and Nepal is coming up, we were like Naya Nepal ka Naya Hero. Where we're still talking about how we have products, we have integrated our products, but still maintain that emotional connect. Coming to Latin America, where I told you that they're more about technology and all, we had a very amazing campaign which was out a year and a half ago. It was called Rueda Inteligente, which translates to intelligent riding. And the entire ad was kept very young and funky with, Latin America music and the setting. So where we still kind of getting people together, but we're still talking about intelligent riding. And this we did in terms of intelligent riding, in terms of the technology and the products that we're giving you, but also kind of hinting at the fact that you choosing Hero makes you an intelligent rider. So it's intelligent riding and ride intelligent. So this is how we kind of still, kind of keep the narrative of Hero as the mother brand as the same thing across markets, but still kind of change the narrative a bit in terms of brand connect across our geographies.
All right, got it. So talking about narrative, all these different twists that you have done in your narrative has been done in emerging markets. Now that you are planning to launch in a mature market like Europe, how do you plan to differentiate the branding of Hero from the emerging markets that you have been already doing?
Right. So, how do I? So, like you mentioned, it's a mature market. Also, the market is very different from our emerging markets because the use is very specified and they're not like uh, shifts happening as frequent as we see in our evolving markets. We recently had a study. I think you guys must have learned that we do a lot of, I think, what do you say, uh, brand tracks and all of that, like those research. So we get to know what is the current trend that is going on in the market. And what we realized was that it's a very rational based purchase in the European countries. It's not more on, okay, this is a fun brand, so let's just choose and all of that. One is that the two-wheeler market is high. There are very two distinct parts over there. One is that people are looking at like easy commute and all, which is still like a very small chunk of the entire market. And then you see really high CC bikes coming into play, where you have your German players and other Japanese players coming up with 1000 cc and all. Like you have your BMWs, your Honda Big Wings and all of that. Now what we're planning to do here is we will still maintain the communication of what Hero is, because Hero, what it stands for, the future of mobility and our 48 countries and 40-year-old legacy and 120 million customers. But here, what we're looking at is that this is the first Indian OEM that is soon going to launch with both sorts of offerings, which is ICE products, which are your gasoline-based products, and your EV products. So we're looking at sustainability as well as technology, performance, and everything. So this is how what we're planning to do. I mean, of course, it's in the planning stage, so we'll see how it translates into the campaign. But this is the chain of thought that we have as of now, because we really people are not brand loyalists in the European market. This is what we've recently understood in terms of two-wheelers. So what we really need to give them is a very, very strong reason to purchase. And this has to be at a brand level also, and also because they are not aware of Indian manufacturers. So they have a very good reputation of European and Japanese um, OEMs. Chinese have a really bad uh, what do you say, perception, but Indian manufacturers, they do not have one. So gonna build that. So that is something which we will work on.
Okay, okay. So what are the biggest challenges in maintaining the cohesive brand identity for scooters as well as motor taxis, given that there is a very varied positioning and different target audiences?
Correct. So scooter market, like scooter is like your rice products in all of our in all of our markets. We have motorcycles and scooters going, right? So it's not that difficult because it's a part of the Hero family. So we just come up with Hero scooters and all. So there's no difference as such. There's no challenges such as well. It's always at a brand level where we are looking at how we're going to position and target our models with respect to the different geographies we cater to. What is kind of a challenge in terms of motor taxi segment is that, especially when I mentioned that Hero is kind of the third or fourth entrant, especially as an Indian manufacturer, Bajaj and TVS have really established themselves in these markets. So Bajaj kind of took off in the African markets, and that is why it's getting a lot of like major part of its sales through Africa, more than India as well. Its exports are really good. So here, because we did not have the luxury of kind of establishing the brand and also creating awareness of our products, what we did was we started really pushing hard on our products. But what we maintained was that we are made in India because they have a very bad perception of Chinese. There's the perception of Chinese is bad is because they're very cheap. That is why people used to use them. But the fact is that they were not at all durable. They used to break down a lot, cheap parts. So they were not at all reliable. So what we're trying to do is really push on Hunter, which is one of our brands, which is the motor taxi brand where we have different segments under it. Like we have 100cc, 125, and 150cc under the Hunter brand. We're really trying to push Hunter, and now after people are aware of Hunter as a motorcycle, now we're pushing Hero Hunter. But now people are kind of realizing that okay, now it comes from a family, and where we've established Hunter, we are now introducing personal segment bikes also. We were pushing X-Pulse and Destiny, which is a scooter. So we're trying to show that now the people who are coming with really reliable and sturdy bikes also have um, these offerings, and that is why it's a much more reliable brand. So that is what we're doing right now in Africa, motor taxi segment.
Okay, got it. Uh, so now coming to brand communication. So as a brand manager, storytelling is a very important part of your job. Uh, and Hero will launch its EV segment, but it currently is not. The EV segment is not one of its own. So, do you find difficulties in storytelling of the brand in the lack of due to the lack of EV segment? Because sustainability is a huge part in today's world. So, do you find any difficulties for the same?
So we don't. So the markets that we are in as of now, like Latin America and all, they're not matured EV markets. So the thing is that they're still kind of at a place where the penetration is equivalent to what it was in India 10 years ago, that people were still worried about how the infrastructure going to be and all of that. So it's not been a problem as such in terms of sustainability and all. We do not face an issue because of our manufacturing facilities where we have our really like energy sufficient and completely we have some plants, manufacturing facilities which are 100% using recycled water and all of that. So we all have very self-sustaining models in our manufacturing facilities. Apart from that, we also have had a new setup which had started in India, which were called green dealerships, where we were trying to minimize the carbon output of our dealerships as well, and that is what we're replicating now in our countries, and we've already started in markets like Bangladesh, Turkey, and now we're replicating that in LATAM as well. So in terms of sustainability, we've not faced an issue because we are also very high on CSR activities as well. So recently we had the centennial thing where we were celebrating 100 years of our chairman emeritus, and we kind of replicated across our markets, and we had tree planting and a lot of CSR and sustainable activities happening across countries. So we push a lot on our manufacturing prowess as well as do a lot of activities which show sustainable structures and processes in line. So we have not had an issue for the same.
Okay, Got it. So great to know about the CSR activities of Hero. Now moving on, what role does digital marketing and data analytics play in shaping and measuring the effectiveness of Hero's brand campaigns globally?
So this highly depends on which market you're looking at because the internet penetration is different everywhere. If you look at Bangladesh, Bangladesh is like 7 years behind India in terms of uh, optimizing digital campaigns. Um, but when you see Latin American markets, we see that 80% of our marketing activities are focused on digital because they have more than 78% on digital penetration. So the usage is very high. So this is where we kind of have a lot of paid campaigns, performance marketing campaigns happening. We also right now are coming up with a very sustainable model, which is looking at conversion of sales digitally. So we have a lot of systems in place. Digitization is also kind of playing a very major role where I talked about hyperlocal marketing, which is increasing dealer visibility across platforms like Google My Business and Facebook and Instagram, where we're creating individual dealer pages on all of these platforms. So this is one thing. We've also kind of come up with automated journeys for the customers. So what we have done is we are also running performance marketing campaigns. Through that, we get a lot of leads. And to qualify these leads, in some countries, we have call centers. But the thing is that the lead time is very high because we have to go through all the leads and qualify and then send them to the dealers. So we've also come up with a lot of WhatsApp automated journeys where we've created a bot where we kind of take there's an entire journey for the customer where they look at their preferred model, where are they look their location, their preferred model, the price bracket they're looking at. We're taking all of this and from our end only qualifying the lead and directly giving it to the dealer. So this is how we are doing a lot of digitization and digital marketing. But digital marketing is kind of taking the forefront in all of our markets apart from Africa, because Africa is looking at more of experiential, like on-ground DTL level activities. But digital is rampant in all of our other markets completely.
Okay, got it. So now moving towards challenges that you face as a brand manager and challenges to the brand. So as the EV segment is coming up, how does Hero MotoCorp plan to address concerns like range, anxiety, infrastructure challenges, and affordability to enhance its brand credibility?
So this is not just a marketing thing because this is a business side of a discussion as well, where what our brand is already, so the electric brand, the emerging electric mobility brand of Hero MotoCorp is Vida, which is already there in India. So we will be launching with Hero ICE models and Vida when we start with Europe. So Europe will be the first country, first region where we will be having the global launch of our electric vehicles as well. To answer your question for range anxiety and infrastructural issues, one thing is that we have a really good range which we're going to show with a lot of on-ground activities as well. Also, one good thing is that we have the exchangeable battery, which is also like a removable battery, which you can go and charge anytime, anywhere with a normal socket. So that is something that we already will be integrating or might be one of our USPs in our campaigns when we start with the awareness campaigns. As far also for the infrastructure in terms of showing visibility on ground, we are already planning to set up a lot of charging stations at our dealerships. Now the thing is, where one thing which I'd like to share with you is that it's a completely MBO driven market. In India, you have individual dealerships of any OEMs like Bajaj, Honda, Hero, Nut. So they are what do you say, company specific dealerships, right? But in Europe, you have an MBO setup, which is multi-brand outlet. You go in one store and you will have at least 10 to 12 brands just standing and stacked next to each other. So we're already working on shop and shop outlets where we will have a dedicated Vida corner. Also, we will have our Vida experience pods. We are looking at experience centers also. So the main key areas will end up having experience centers where people can see the usage and all. So we can kind of curb these anxieties or the issues which can come up, which they might have before kind of considering purchasing an EV model.
Okay, got it. Uh, Now, one final question to you about recommendation and future vision. So, what strategies as a brand manager that you would recommend or you are going to do to establish Hero MotoCorp as a global leader in sustainable urban mobility while maintaining its heritage in the two-wheeler segment?
So one thing, so sustainable, like I mentioned, once we get Vida, our entire brand narrative will become that we are an OEM that is coming with ICE models and EV models. You might see them in other countries, but in Europe this has not happened. So we will be the first Indian manufacturer to do that. Also, apart from that, we are already working on keeping the the setup is changing in terms of green dealerships, like I already mentioned. What we're trying to do now is kind of enhance customer experience by having hero showrooms and hero premium showrooms as well. Where there's a premium feel where you get all premium models coming over there. There also will be sustainable corners for Vida as well. We're putting Vida with our ICE products to show that we are looking at sustainable mobility as well. So all of this is already happening. This will translate into campaigns at a hero level as well as a product level. And also, I think you must have seen that fuel efficiency is something which has been on the forefront for any hero product coming in India. The same has been the case and the goal for our global markets as well, where even for our ICE products or gasoline products, we're already pushing at fuel efficient products. We're already announcing our collaborations with EV motorcycle manufacturers as well. So we are gonna come up with EV bikes soon as well. Right now we only have scooters, but we will also soon be having EV motorcycles as well. So in that way, Hero is evolving, and I think it will be fun to see how Hero kind of still has that trust, but now also includes a lot of technology and a lot of performance related stuff. One thing which I would also recommend is that we have a very strong Hero Motorsports team, which has been bagging a lot of international accolades, and we started leveraging them in a lot of our countries because it shows our prowess as well. And also pushing the fact that we also have a manufacturing facility in Germany, which a lot of people are not aware about. So, having something which is in Europe up to the European standards, meeting the emission norms and all, will always help us. But the thing is that Germany has not been in the limelight in terms of because the main one is in Jaipur, but pushing that will also help us get that credibility in terms of sustainable as well as technological progress.
Okay, got it. So these were my questions for you today, and thanks a lot for taking out some part of
No,
your
no,
time
no.
and